Well, hello, friends and neighbors. John, your whiskey neighbor here, and welcome again to my deck. It's actually quite a nice Sunday afternoon. It's a little breezy, a little cool, but I'm kind of enjoying that. As I said in the last video, I want to talk some more Canadian whiskey. We're heading into July 1st, a great day to crack open some Canadian whiskey and share with friends. So we're going to go to the J.P. Weiser NHL series. This is part of their captain's line, and I'm going to talk today about Yvan Cournoyer. I knew I'd get his name wrong, but a very famous, very speedy captain from the Habs, from Montreal Canadiens. And this whiskey is an acknowledgement of his leadership and fantastic work on the ice. But we'll talk really about whiskey, not hockey, when we come back.
3, 4.
Thanks for staying with me. I'm more nervous trying to say Yvan's last name, Cournoyer, than talking about whiskey. Because while I appreciate hockey, I am not a deep enough hockey fan to say it right or to talk about this great captain's career and do it justice. So I'll probably stay off of that topic as we instead talk about Canadian whiskey. So if you're new to Canadian whiskey, or if you're new to the channel, or you've never seen these bottles here, like I have here, I have the Messier series over here. J.P. Weiser a few years back decided to bring in great hockey players and talk to them about what they like in whiskey, share some stories, and build a whiskey that was a little bit aligned with their flavor, with what they like in whiskey. And then also there's often Easter eggs about their careers with the bottles. And then part of the proceeds of these bottles go to support local hockey initiatives and to support retired players. That probably not the big stars, but there are a number of retired players that really put a lot into the game, and then it's tough to get a big career afterwards. I don't know the percentages, but I do think it's a great idea. They're supporting local hockey, and at first I thought it was a big gimmick, right? And I suppose there's still some gimmick nature anytime you go to anybody famous, but over the releases, I've gained a little more respect. So this is Yvan Cournoyer. It's part of the Captain series. This one is 12 years old, so it's a little bit older, which is nice, but it's released at only 40%. So I was a bit surprised with that, because a lot of the Captain series, or even the NHL series, are above the 40%, but this one's just at 40%. It is 12 years old, 3 grains, so we're doing corn and rye and malted barley, and then it's aged in ex-bourbon and some virgin oak barrels, I believe. I'm not sure what else I know about the bottle, so let's just talk about what we experience when we drink it. It's a pretty gentle nose. It is not high sweetness, but definitely some sweeter corn or grain. It's not necessarily corn, but some sweetness comes up. A wisp of spice, perhaps. A little bit of light fruiting, a little bit of light flowering. And that brought in a little bit of spicing. A little bit of kind of a darker clove. Yeah, that continued. Well, I do know the rye in here is both column distilled and pot distilled. Just like in lot 40. I don't know how the other grains are handled. Most likely column. I don't know though. I like this nose. It's fairly gentle, fairly welcoming. If the sweetness in there, it might move toward a higher sweetness like vanillas. Not as cooked or as deep as caramels. But you add the spicing and it starts to feel a bit deeper. See how it tastes. Cheers. It's a fairly gentle and pleasing whiskey in the mouth. It feels quite balanced between little more caramels in there, little toffees. Gentle rye spicing. Just a wisp of a lighter grain, like a maltiness. Spice comes a bit at the early finish. Better have another sip. A little bit of fruit comes out in that second sip. What would that be? I don't know. Well, when I said fruit, then I wanted to identify it. I'm struggling a bit with that. Like a very ripe apple or red plum, but not a lot of wine notes. So I don't want you to think when I say plum, I often associate that with wine notes, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, what would be a fairly juicy, soft, not astringent, not sharp fruit? Something like that. So a gentle fruit, nice honeys, little bit of cooked spicing. Finish is a little short. That's where I get a little more wood. It's just nice. Some youthful oak, but not too bitter. Not a lot of wood tannins. Just, well, now I got a little bit more. So what was that? Third sip down. Now I'm getting a little bit more bite on the edge of my tongue. And some of those wood tannins, like if you've steeped deep tea or, where it's a slight tacky bitterness, not tacky, but bitterness that comes through with that well-steeped tea. And you kind of get that from oak sometimes. And it is there. Not the first note you're going to get. So I actually really like this one. I know it's only 40%, and I'm always chasing higher percentages. I tend to like a little more backbone, but this is very well put together. I like that they've added a bit of virgin oak treatment to the whiskey, I think, and that's probably why I'm getting that oak, but it gives it a bit of a backbone. The bourbon here is pretty sweet, so a little more vanillas. But this is a sipper. It's a relaxed sipper. You know what, 40%? And here's something. So many Canadian whiskeys, for my palate, end up being excessively sweet. And there's a fair amount of sweetness in this. Somehow it's constrained, whether that's a little more rye backbone that they've added, whether it's maybe more has been gone in virgin oak, and I think that takes some of that high sweetness out a little bit. I'm not sure. I think you'll recognize it in the Canadian palate, but thankfully it's just got enough other things going on, or it's brought back the sweetness, that I actually like this one a fair amount. It's probably in my top 3 or 4 of the NHL series. As you know, Dave Keon is probably my favorite right now. This is just a pleasing Canadian whiskey and a fantastic price. On the shelf, I think regularly in Canada, it's somewhere around that $45 mark. I happen to know I've seen it on sale for less than that. And when you get an age stamp, 12-year-old for under 40 or regular price, mid 40s, I think that's just a really good value in whiskey. And what was that, a quick fourth sip? Now there's a little more spicing, which speaks to its complexity. So I like this. And I know it's been the score that I've been throwing around lately, but this to me can get into that 4 and I can easily enjoy it. That's my thoughts. Now I want to compare it with Messier. It's from the Captain series. Now the Messier is 11 years old. It's finished in Speyside malt barrels. Doesn't say what it's gone into it, so it's probably sitting in, I don't know, ex-bourbon, ex-Canadian, 11-year-old, but it's up to 47%. So it's significantly higher percent, but I'll just talk to you a bit about the comparison if you're still with me. Interesting, I expected to get a real bloom of spice on the nose. I got a bloom of deep caramel or brown sugar. Compared to the Cournoyer, it is a stronger nose. Sorry, the Messier is a stronger nose. But for me, it's a little bit, it continues to push into toffees and caramels. Funny. Let's see how it tastes. More cooked, more burnt, which is usually what I like in whiskey. Definitely bolder, stronger spicing. Take the clove, sprinkle cinnamon, wrap it in nutmeg. You know what I mean? Like it's got layers of that little bit of tobacco, that kind of thing. Funny. Heading into this review, I was liking this more than the Messier. I even told cousin Brad, I said, I don't know if you want to get the Messier. This Cournoyer is really good. You might want to get that. In this head-to-head, it's definitely spicier, stronger, pricklier. But that is well structured. There I definitely got some leathered fruits, definitely some, I'm going to call them prunes or plums, added to, a more floral nose. Wow, I'm kind of liking both of these today. In the past, I think I probably rated them both about 4 stars. But in the past, I give a nod to this over the Messier. And I am struggling to hold that line. Now that was definitely with bold, with spice, a little more astringent. So there is an edge of astringency to the Messier. And maybe that was what was building up on me. And you can see I've definitely farther down this bottle than I am to this one over here. I don't think you can go wrong with any one in the Captain series. Right, there are some odd NHL releases out there. I have to say, I don't think you can just see, oh, John said JP Weiser NHL Alumni series and just pick it up. I mean, you can, but some of them were wildly sweet Canadians, a little bit off balance, that kind of thing. But I think the Captain series, it's the last 3 they released, really done well. Spicing came back on the long finish with this one as well. So definitely if you're looking for a lot more spice in your whiskey, the Messier is the way to go. If you're looking for a relaxed sipping experience, really closer to what we tend even internationally to say Canadian whiskey is, but not so excessively sweet as to be tacky or to put you off, this Avant Cournoyer, so sorry I can't get the name perfect, but this is a good recommend. Great Canadian whiskey. Hope you guys find something for July 1st. Crack open and share with friends. Thanks for joining me, and I do wish you a great weekend. Maybe I'll sneak one more in before the day is done. Cheers.